There she goes. That's Pink. It's called What About Us. I am buzzing because I'm here with my fellow countryman, the great Will Sliney. Welcome, Will. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Shall we do the formal introduction? Our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is at the top of the tower, one of Ireland's most talented illustrators, arguably the most talented illustrator in the country, renowned for his work on graphic novels for the likes of Marvel, including Spider-Man. You are remarkable, by the way, at this. Star Wars, your work with the Sky Arts TV show, Draw with Will, is there as well, which is now entering its 4th season and has an accompanying book, which we're going to talk about too. Welcome, Will, from Ballycotton.
Ballycotton, yeah. Flew over this morning. It's nearly easier to get to London now than it is to Dublin.
Isn't that amazing?
So handy. Yeah.
How did you? What airport did you fly to?
Just Cork Airport, straight here. You know. Yeah.
That's great. Well, welcome. It's great to see you here, and you're probably fresh off this. Let's just talk about what happened last night, because you were busy working with regard to a program, to a certain match. So we'll go there, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. I've had a lovely relationship with the FAI and Everton, actually, which helped set this up, where they kind of spotted my drawings well before I was working on Star Wars and Spider-Man and stuff. So every once in a while they'll get me to do the programme cover. So I went over to Everton, drew Jake O'Brien, who's another fellow East Cork man. Drew him on, he was basically his first I'm going to be on the programme cover for Ireland. And that's what it was last night, and thankfully Ireland won. So everyone will keep that programme cover as a little memento.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So when you were at school, were you a doodler? Just to give us a kind of a sense of this, because there's the amount of people I interview where you're sitting now who are artists, musicians, writers, creatives, spent so much of their time not looking at what we used to call the blackboard, now the whiteboard, but actually out the window. Were you one of those?
I certainly got in trouble for it in school. I remember that. I always loved drawing. I didn't know you could do it as a career. That's definitely a thing that I went all the ways through my time being young in school, and it wasn't until I was kind of college age that I realised, wow, there's these amazing opportunities out there in this world of comics. People actually draw Spider-Man for a living, you know. So that was the big shift. It was something that I just doodled along. I loved to have as a hobby, but very quickly realised at, I guess, 20 that, you know, I really want to have this job as a comic book artist.
Marvel. I mean, they're so iconic. I mean, how do they pick you up, or do you send stuff in and say, I'm really good at this, or do they find you? How does that work?
A bit of both. So I would have went to a lot of comic book conventions. They're all over the world now, which is nice. There was just a huge one in Dublin 2 weeks ago where we had the editor-in-chief of Marvel over, and he's looking for talent. He looks for talent all over the world.
They're on
now.
The search still, yeah.
Honestly, yeah, and they love to bring in people from different parts of the world, because we're all different types of artists too, and we can tell different types of stories. I used to go to conventions in America. I would basically save up every penny I would have, go over with a portfolio, which is just 5 pages of comic book drawings, and that's enough for them to see whether they like you or not.
Yeah, and then they say, well, that's pretty good. Do they let you, like you say, they bring people from around the world? Can you bring a bit of your cultural background to, or does Gotham have to just be Gotham? Can you suddenly go in and go, I'd love so, you know, like whatever, a Shamrock Shake, you know, in Gotham?
I have done it many times, and I can't believe I haven't gotten in trouble over it yet. I have a Father Larry Duff statue in the middle of Times Square in a Spider-Man issue. So, you know, little touches like that are nice. But often when you're working in these stories, you know, you're a part of them and you get to influence them. So there's a famous character, Miguel of Spider-Man 2099, who's half Mexican and half Irish. So being from Cork, I made sure his backstory was he's actually from Cork. They're very, very important for
so
people.
You get to play God with the cartoons, kind of, you know, if you want to. That's great.
And they've such a big legacy, these characters. You know, we're drawing after people like Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, who are legend of the industry. So to be given the keys to work on characters like these is amazing. So you don't want to mess them up, you don't want to change them too much, but you can bring a little bit of your own personality to them too.
Where we're sitting, there's a wall to just, and your eye was immediately drawn. It's like, oh, there's a Spider-Man, because you're like, look, like squirrel, you know, you're straight out there. That's our friend and colleague Lee Francis, who draws a lot of these things, because he's pretty good, isn't he?
He's good. I could give him a lesson or two for Spider-Man, but we'll see how that goes.
Do you know what? I'd say he'd take you up on that, but he's the best we have. We're all still amazed.
It's amazing,
but it adds a bit of colour to the place. Tell us about Draw with Will, the book that you're promoting.
Yeah, right? Do you know, maybe that's exactly what I could give him. A few lessons.
Leave a copy for Lee. Okay, talk to me.
Yeah, look, we've been working on a show for a few years with Sky called Draw with Will, where we get to teach how to draw really, really famous characters. And this all came about during the pandemic, when I think people really remembered that kids love to draw draw, because at that time they couldn't do much else. This is our first book. It's with Simon & Schuster and Gallery Books, and the big focus on this one for me was kind of even like what you're alluding back to, was I drawing a lot in school. I didn't want it to be like a straight up tutorial book how to draw something. I wanted to feel like something that you're engaged with. So like, you know, if you read those books before where you kind of choose your own adventure and you're actively engaged with the book, this one, the tutorials you learn on one page, you have to be able to draw them into the comic in the other page. So hopefully people really feel like they're a comic book artist straight away, and they will hopefully have a lot of fun when they're drawing everything in the book.
I'm just looking through this book, is bringing me right back. I really am having a real Proustian moment of being about maybe 10 or 11 and getting like Billy Whiz or, you know, one of the Beanos and blank page and trying to copy them. But this, I would have loved this book so much if I was that kid again, because it's clean lines in many ways, but it's also fun, and it's not patronizing because it gets kind of complicated, but in a really accessible way. This is brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to see how kids react to it and how they're learning. Look, I've obviously tested it on friends and family and kids, and it works for a lot of ages, because literally my own 4-year-old daughter is able to draw over the blue lines in it, whereas an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old can take what they've learned and draw it by themselves, you know?
Yes.
So it's a very, very, it's hard to explain when you can't see it, but when you see it, you'll see it's a very different way of learning to draw while going over the lines that I do, and it's just packed with stuff for people to learn.
It's perfect. I wish I was 10, but I might just pretend I'm giving it to somebody else and go home and draw for the afternoon. Will you stay with us for a few minutes, Will? I've got too many questions. Will Sliney joining us at the top of the tower with more to come after this. Okay, Will Sliney, Ireland's foremost animator, with us at the top of the tower today. His book Draw with Will is the ultimate art activity book. I absolutely love it. You'll know his work and I really do. Spider-Man and Star Wars, these are high-end tasks to be working for and places to be working with. I watched it last night. Family Guy is something that makes me laugh. I love how awful, how rude, and how sometimes crude it is. It makes me laugh. Nothing else. And Seth MacFarlane, the man behind that, whose brain I love, has now also alighted on you. Tell me about you and Seth.
Yes, so when you work for Marvel, when you create characters, you obviously don't own them. They're you know, I've created many characters for Star Wars, that's part of their world. That's work for hire in the world of comic books. And then there are other publishers that would be known as creator-owned. So Image Comics, they would have properties like The Walking Dead or Invincible. Those have all turned into great shows, and the creators very much stay involved. So if you want to do something that you want to create for yourself, that's what we did with a book which is called The Shrouded College. And we had a big, mad Hollywood bidding war, which is very, very new to me, for the rights to this book, which is definitely more adult focused. So Seth and his production company Fuzzy Door optioned it with Universal to make something for Peacock, and that is now currently in production. So,
Shrouded College.
Yes,
What's the gist of that? What's the
it's
blurb?
Basically so the author of it, I'm the illustrator, myself and Charles, we kind of created new universes for Star Wars, and we did a lot of stuff for Spider-Man as well. We kind of wanted to create our own one. It's a kind of a supernatural horror series. So I'm a weird mixture of teaching young kids how to draw and drawing these supernatural kind of adult books.
You're a head case. I love that. Welcome to this office, because you're talking to one. So we're going to get on just fine, Will. I love that your brain's going. I did the toy show, for goodness sake, and now I've got other stuff going on in my head too, but that's for another story. So that's great. That's Seth MacFarlane. I mean, you're really you're mixing with the good ones now at this stage. You very kindly drew a sketch of me recently. It has gone off the chart on my Instagram, Tubridy, if you want to have a look. I was saying before you came in that really, if you want to look good, ask a great animator to do a version of you, because it's very flattering.
We're the opposite to character artists. We know you want to go the other way around when you're trying to impress someone. So
it worked. So what you looked at me and somebody mentioned the eyebrows were great, very pronounced black eyebrows, which I was happy with because I'm quite proud of my. Why don't you get them look? Manscaped. I said no, it's all I've got here. So you went for that.
But whenever you're I have to draw a lot of real people. When you're working in Star Wars, you're drawing Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and all these people. When you're drawing football things, you have to get the likenesses right, and it's actually amazing how you know whether you have someone from the eyes straight away. And if you don't catch that, that's what we're trained to look at. You look straight at someone's eyes and everything else around it just kind of falls into place.
Really?
But if you don't have those right, you will not have a likeness. And it's so important when you're drawing Star Wars to make them, Han Solo needs to look like Han Solo, you know, because the readers really want that connection to the movies and with the books too. So look, I've been doing it for a long time, and that's the most important part. It's funny you picked out that the eyebrows were
the brows were really a guy came up to me at the Mansion House in Dublin. I was doing a thing with Kelly Harrington, and he came up to me. He said, "Do you mind awfully?" And I could see his friends at the table going, "Why? Go on, do it." He took off his glasses. I have a long head like yours, and the ears. So I'm your doppelganger. So I do think that I've got quite a good head for cartoons. I think I've got quite an old-fashioned.
They need to be unique faces.
That is the greatest insult I've ever been given. You have a unique face. I'll take it. I deserve nothing less. Have you ever caricatured yourself? Is this you?
Pretty much. You might notice that my hair is dyed for the shows and it's nice and brown and very grey in real life. So that's the joys of working in kids' TV. That's what many people have pointed that out to me. So we might start adding in grey in book 2.
All right, listen, I've really enjoyed seeing you, Will. Thanks for taking the trip from Cork to London.
It has been a pleasure.
And Draw with Will, as seen on Sky Kids. It's the ultimate art activity book. We'll do some photos. Follow it on socials because you need to see this book. This is really special. I love it. There's a child in your life who likes to pick up a pen or any class of art and is kind of into this, but wants to have a go at it themselves. This is the one you need. I'm thinking Christmas. I shouldn't say that now, but certainly birthdays, confirmations, all sorts of treat times. This is a great book. So well done. Really happy for you. Come and see us again sometime.
Absolutely.
When I need my ego dealt with, I'll ask you for another caricature. But thanks a lot, Will Sliney. You're brilliant. Thank you.